This is Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story, a gripping true crime podcast that takes you deep into the chilling tale of allegations against Lucy Letby, a seemingly caring and dedicated nurse who harbored a dark secret. Join us as we unravel the twisted journey of a medical professional whose actions sent shockwaves throughout the healthcare community. It's the story of a nurse who went from saving lives to becoming the harbinger of death. This is Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story. In the bustling neonatal unit of the Countess of Chester Hospital, a serious error was made. Dr. John Gibbs, the consultant in charge of the unit, and his registrar colleague, Dr. David Harkness, left a sick infant named Baby G alone behind a screen with her monitor turned off, following a difficult cannulation procedure to administer fluids and antibiotics. It was Lucy Letby, a 32-year-old neonatal nurse, who discovered the unresponsive infant and called for help. As the designated nurse rushed in, Letby performed emergency treatment to revive Baby G. The doctor's grievous oversight only came to light when the designated nurse read a report of the prosecution's opening address at the start of Letby's trial in October. Nick Johnson, HC, told the jury that someone had switched off the monitor when Baby G collapsed on September 21, 2015, and that she was discovered by Letby. He added, as before, the constant presence was Lucy Letby. However, the designated nurse recalled that DAS, Gibbs and Harkness, had apologized to her later that day, admitting that they had switched off the Massimo monitor and forgotten to turn it back on. Both medics were very, very apologetic, she said. During a period of intense cross-examination by Letby's barrister, Ben Myers, KC, Dr. Gibbs, now retired, agreed that the error should never have been made. Although he could not recall either walking away from the monitor or offering an apology later in the day, he agreed with Mr. Myers' assertion that it would be a serious error to leave a baby behind a screen with no monitor on. Dr. Gibbs said, yes, if we didn't speak to a nurse about that. I can't remember, but I shouldn't have done it. Dr. Gibbs accepted the accuracy of the nurse's recollection about leaving Baby G unattended, stating, if that's what she says, it would have happened. I don't remember. Regarding her account of him and Dr. Harkness leaving the monitor switched off, he again accepted it, saying, if that's what she said, presumably that's what happened. 7 years after the event, Dr. Gibbs could not recall exactly what he did with the monitor. However, he insisted, I would have checked she was stable at the time. Otherwise, I would not have left. He could not recall having a conversation with either Baby G's designated nurse or the manager in charge of the unit that day, Arian Powell. Dr. Gibbs agreed that a nurse, ideally the one designated for the baby, should be informed before a doctor departed. That's correct, yes. You should never just leave the baby there, he said. When Barrister Myers pointed out that Dr. Gibbs had done precisely that, leaving the screen in place, failing to switch the monitor back on, and failing to inform a nurse that he and Dr. Harkness were leaving, Dr. Gibbs replied, I can't remember. It should not have happened. To have done so would have been a serious error. The consultant said the doctors might have left in a rush to attend another baby on the unit or a child on the pediatric ward. When Myers reminded Dr. Gibbs that he had earlier spoken about the issue of staffing levels on the neonatal unit, he suggested that low staffing levels had increased pressure on the unit, and asked whether a simultaneous rise in neonatal admissions had increased the possibility of something being missed or something going wrong. Dr. Gibbs replied, yes, agreeing that if Baby G had been left behind a screen, that was an example of that happening. The neonatal unit was a place where every second mattered, and the smallest mistake could mean the difference between life and death. Yet, in a moment of distraction or haste, a critical error had been made, leaving Baby G vulnerable and unmonitored. As the trial continued, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. The prosecution and defense teams meticulously presented their cases, and the jury hung on every word. The stakes were high, not only for Lucy Letby, who faced allegations of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 10 more, but also for the families of the infants who sought justice and closure. During the trial, Letby's colleagues and supervisors were called to testify. Time and again, they reiterated the crucial importance of vigilant monitoring and communication among the neonatal unit staff. As the case unfolded, it became increasingly evident that the unit had struggled with understaffing and a rising number of admissions, both of which had the potential to contribute to the occurrence of serious errors. In his closing argument, Myers emphasized the pressure that the neonatal unit staff faced daily, arguing that it could have led to the oversight that endangered baby G. He urged the jury to consider the context in which the incident occurred and questioned whether it was fair to place the blame solely on Letby. This is Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story, a gripping true crime podcast that takes you deep into the chilling tale of allegations against Lucy Letby, a seemingly caring and dedicated nurse who harbored a dark secret. Join us as we unravel the twisted journey of a medical professional whose actions sent shockwaves throughout the healthcare community. It's the story of a nurse who went from saving lives to becoming the harbinger of death. This is Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story.